Now, it's time to speak to our guest, Sathe, and he's a man who wants to make social change happen through his music. And he's collaborated with lots of interesting people. And I'm pleased to say he joins me now over the phone, and his name is Amal Lad. So welcome, musician and guitarist Amal Lad.
Hello there, કેમ છો?
Bas, majama, how are you?
I'm okay, yeah. Maru Gujarati થોડું કાચું પાકું છે એટલે I'll speak in English.
Oh, we're going to test your Gujarati now. So, Amal, tell me, how did you get into music, first of all?
I've always been I think I'd describe myself as an obsessed musician. I think I was born a musician. But I think it's probably down to my dad. He's got quite an eclectic music taste. And my most earliest memories, I think I've always been obsessed with the guitar. There's never been a point where I've said, oh, that's what I want to do. I've always wanted to be a rock star. But I do remember my dad was cleaning out all of his cassettes, and I came across all these fabulous sounds of Eric Clapton, rock compilations, Gary Moore, Pink Floyd, and I just started dreaming of being a rock star, which is a contrast to the kind of kid I was. Well, I was quite weak, skinny little Indian kid. You know, I used to have this problem in my throat where I'd have a cough that would sound like a dog. So when I was at school, they used to call me Laddie the dog. And it was kind of a world inside music where I'd be away from the real world, really. I was a dreamer through music, I'd say, as a youngster. But yes, mainly my dad and his taste in music. There's nobody in my family who actually plays music other than my Fuaji, who's quite a great bhajan singer. But other than that, it's kind of been quite a lonely journey at first, with just falling in love with it and craving an opportunity to kind of get an electric guitar. And that's the one thing I'd bug my dad for, and he gave it to me one day, and that's been the love affairs began.
Okay, so your dad wasn't a musicianist at all. He was just into the music. And then you decided that you wanted to learn how to play the guitar, and it just wasn't your normal classical guitar. It was an electric guitar, right?
It was electric, yeah.
So how long have you been playing the guitar for then?
So I got my first guitar at age 10, and I'm now 28.
Okay.
I'm self-taught, so it's not a conventional style of playing guitar. I just kind of picked it up through imitation. But yeah, it's been 18 years. I'd say I've learnt more through life and then translated it into music rather than actually learnt chords and scales and that kind of stuff. And because I've not had anyone to jam with, I used to jam with the CDs and the music, and I think nowadays it's quite a shame that we've got iPods, actually, because guitar solos were what made me feel alive when I listened to them. And with a tape, you'd have that anticipation of rewinding it, finding it, and you can't press skip as easy as you can now. And I think that's where it began, really.
But other than being a musician, you're in a profession that has got, well, I say nothing to do with it, but I know music is good therapy when it comes to medical backgrounds, because you're also a doctor.
Yeah.
And you say, quote me if I'm wrong, but you say that you draw inspiration for your music from your work as being a doctor. So tell me more about that.
Well, most people would say that it's two worlds apart. But me personally, I think that they're both very important, and they both equally contribute to my life. I think the only difference is medicine's more of a discipline for me, so it's something that I have to do, even though sometimes I don't want to do it when it gets a bit uncomfortable. But music is me, so I am a musician, so I can't switch that part of me off. And the two worlds are actually together now. I feel like most of my opportunities I'm having now are collaborating music and medicine. I've done quite a few projects, most recently with a psychiatrist called Dr. Ramya Mohan, who's creating an album of ragas to influence patients' way of thinking and to see how that can contribute to therapy. So I've been composing music for her. I've done some stuff for Chelsea Westminster Hospital, where we made some music for paintings for patients to take their mind off being in hospital. They are two worlds apart. to some people, but for me, they're both the same thing. And
well, I can see very much how they are very much together rather than two worlds apart, just by what you've just described there. Because a lot of doctors and a lot of people from the medicine background now are believing, and they are now saying that music has got a lot to do with somebody's well-being, and it plays a huge role in getting better, whether it's a mental issue that they have or something else. So I can see how that works together. You mentioned that you have been influenced by the likes of Eric Clapton, but what was it about Eric Clapton's music that really, really inspired you to pick that guitar up?
It was the sound. It was the sound of freedom. I think as a kid, as I said, I lived in my own world. I didn't know who I was, and it's been a long journey of even loneliness, of being crippled with low self-esteem. And not many people talk about depression, especially in our community. It's not something that's spoken about, but I think young people should have that awareness and self-awareness as well. But being a guitar player, you can be anything you want to be. And the sound that an electric guitar makes is... It has the power to shake the world in a good way. It has the power to move the world, and it's so cool. So when I heard it wasn't anything to do with the artist. I heard Eric Clapton without knowing him. Okay. At first, my brother's a big Michael Jackson fan, and I remember watching "Give In to Me," the Michael Jackson video with Slash playing guitar on there, and I thought Slash was a woman at first because of his long hair, the Guns N' Roses guitar player. But he just looked so cool, and I was like, that woman looked cool on that stage, ripping it up on that guitar. And these are one of the earliest memories, and I think it just exudes confidence, and it's something I've always aspired to be like. And when I have a guitar in my hands, I feel like it's a weapon, and of goodness. You can spread a real empowering message through music.
I think the sound of the electric guitar is something quite different and very pleasant to the ears than the normal guitar that people play. So good choice of instrument to pick up. Now, you've worked with Ambika Joyce, haven't you? So what is it about her that made you want to collaborate with her?
I think with Ambika, I knew her as a person before we actually collaborated. I think I knew her for about 2 years, just in contact, just learning about what's her theory behind music and why she's doing music, what type of person she is, and she's an incredible person. I think so. When we collaborated on the Complex Simplicities tracks, it was just instantly a connection. I think, especially with the track "Close Your Eyes," I think that was one thing. I didn't even have speakers in my room when I was making that, and we couldn't even hear what was going on, but she was writing the lyrics for that, and I was recording the music, and it just kind of just happened, and it was just like a one-take thing, and it just worked. I think she's quite a special vocalist because I think from her background she's got an incredible knowledge of Carnatic music, and she's got theory because her dad's a fantastic violinist, and I think she brings that to it as well as that Western contemporary side. And I think with her latest collaborations with Rax and Kishan, and I think it's all coming into... She's now finding her voice and finding her sound, really. I think it's incredible what she's doing.
She's got an amazing voice, Ambika, anyway. But what else is coming up for you?
Well, if I ever have a chance to step away from my job, I want to bring Gujarati sounds not to the mainstream, but I've got ideas in my head.
Well, why not to the mainstream? You say not to the mainstream. Why not?
Well, mainstream meaning financially orientated, I think. And I think I have an idea in my head, and I want to get that into music. And if it's possible to get it into music, I think when people are incentivized by financial goals and sales goals, that's what mainstream means. But if I can make a sound which I have in my head, and if I can get it out into music, I feel the right people will connect at the right time. I think that's how movements are created. I think there's a huge young Gujarati uprising even. There's a huge young bhajan orientated community, especially down in London, and they're making phenomenal music. But what I want to do is bring the blues sound into this, like using garba beats, using electric guitar, and using Gujarati vocals in a way that is contemporary, with that, but still maintaining that Gujarati essence.
Well, you know what? I want to hear that. We've had a lot of young Gujarati guests on the show, like yourself, who are not doing enough Gujarati music, and they're all saying because there's not a market for it. But I think there is a market there. If there's not a market, create it is all I say. And you've got the talent to do that. You and all these other people that we've mentioned, Kishan and Swati, and then Jaden, and all these other people, Hamina, and the young Gujarati artists. You can create that market with the kind of vibes that you were just talking about, and it will work extremely well. So I look forward to that blend of music that you're talking about, and let's hope that it comes very soon. Now, the one song that we play of yours a lot on this show is the Rajasthani song, and it's got that Rajasthani influence, hence it's called the Rajasthani song. So I'm going to play that. We're going to play it out in a short while. But talk to me about how this song came about.
Well, it was it's an experiment with the bluesy sounding acoustic side of things. So it's a bit more folky actually than it is bluesy, with a slide guitar in there. But the actual vocals are from a Rajasthani singer called Munshi Khan. It came in a vocal sample bundle, so it wasn't something I was in contact with him. I just bought the samples of the vocals from Earth Sync Productions out in South India, and they. I just put them together in a way because, as I said, I didn't really have much of a contact with vocalists before. So I just wanted to get these ideas out and then maybe propose it to them, and maybe we could do something different. So I just put those vocals in, made the guitar track, and I knew what I wanted to make. I wanted it to feel like when I heard it. I wanted that essence of Rajasthan. I spent some time in India, but not so much in Rajasthan. But in India, you have that kind of earthiness, and I wanted that to come across. And it's quite a jovial song, which is contrasting to some of the other tracks I have on the album. So it was intended to be a bonus track. It doesn't quite fit with the Complex Simplicity's vision, which is about paradox more than anything else. It was just like a fun track to go on to the end of it, and just to make people feel good.
Well, it is a really good song. It's the one song that stood out for me when I was going through your album. I don't know whether I should say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Was it deliberate for this song to sound slightly like George Michael's Faith?
Not at all.
Because the guitar bit certainly sounds like it.
Yeah. Well, it came out in just like the chords, really. And then I did show it to someone who doesn't have much of an Indian background. They said, that sounds like George Michael's Face. But I guess that's a compliment to the track. But yeah, it wasn't intentional at all.
Pure coincidence, yeah.
Purely coincidence.
Okay, Amal, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And this is the track, the Rajasthani song. Amal Lad, produced by એમની સાથે વાતચીત તમે સાંભળી અને આ ઇન્ટરવ્યુ ફરી તમે સાંભળી શકો છો BBC iPlayer રેડિયો એપ ઉપર અને અમારા BBC Asian નેટવર્કના વેબસાઇટ ઉપર just find my page.
અરે માળા રમણીઓ ભજન વાળી ડોરી માળા રમણીઓ ભજન વાળી ડોરી રામ पाछो गड़ा में पोयो जमारो माया जाल में खोयो रे अड़िया गलिया फिरे भटक तो अड़िया गलिया फिरे भटक तो राम ऊपर वाले जोयो जमारो माया जाल में खोयो भजन वाली डोरी माला रमणियो भजन वाली डोरी राम अरे अछो गड़ा में पोयो जमारो पायजाल में खोयो रे कदी निगियो सती संगत में कदी निगल हरि भजन में राम परिवाड़ी जोयो जमारो माया जाल में खोयो रे हो अरे माला रमणियो भजन वाली डोरी माला रमणियो भजन वाली डोरी राम पाछो गड़ा में पोयो जमारो माया जाल में खोयो रे संगत में कदे न गए हरि भजन में राम वो परिवारे जोयो जमारो माया जाल में खोयो रे
Alpa Pandya on BBC Asian Network.